ऐसे ही बोल रहे हैं ना? Am I audible? Yes. Perfect. So, thanks for joining in. This is just this is not any technical talk. Technical as in around any certain tools or technology, but how technology is being used at scale, at government scale, which is, let's say, a billion people, a software being built for billion people, and which is mandatory for everybody to use. I mean, almost. So the title is Dear Digiyatra users. How many of you know Digiyatra? Nice. How many of you used Digiyatra? Nice. Okay, so I mean, before I jump into the details, so I work for FOSS United, and I'm very an enthusiast about public policy, very recent one, and if you, I mean, I'll share this probably again, but then this is very recent thing. I have been talking about community since I have been working for FOSS United, but this is my first talk about in public policy. So again, a disclaimer: this talk is not intended to support or criticize government's initiative, but to talk to all of you, the software developers who are spending their entire day building software and also using software, let's say by private companies or built by the projects like government, by the projects like Digiyatra. And this is not just a talk about Digiyatra, but any Govtech solutions to cover the bigger picture rather than just one solution, which is Digiyatra. So let's just, I don't want to keep you thinking what is Govtech. So when I say Govtech, I mean the technology solutions used by the government to give us services. When I say us, the people of the country, solutions like we all wanted to have a COVID vaccination certificate for certain reason, either if you're traveling abroad, or a digital ID when you're traveling, when you're riding a bike, you need to show your digital licenses, or Digiyatra, you have to check into the airport. So there are solutions like Digiyatra, right? Or fast tag if you are traveling, if you want to quickly, I mean, we are forced to think, there is a quicker way to, just jump onto the toll gates. So there are fast tag, and then eKYC solution. All the banks use this service, right? So this is what I mean when I say Govtech. And what is tech policy? How many of you know public policy? Understand public policy? How many of you know policy? Yeah. So say there is a code of conduct here, right? That we are supposed to behave well. That's a policy we have to abide by. When I say public policy, which means everyone in the country is supposed to follow a code of conduct or rule, which is law in India. So today, yesterday, the government of India finally passed not passed, but then there is a recent bill called Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDPA. Yes. So now there are certain rules, like if a company has my data, I can go back, I can reach out to company and ask them to delete my data. That's a new law. So similarly, any policy which is around tech is being termed as tech policy. So there is this quotation from our forum on FOSS United Foundation forum. It says data and privacy bills. I said DPDPA, cybersecurity regulations, increasing digitization of public service. I was talking about Digiyatra, FASTag, CoWIN. We used Aarogya Setu back then. Are not just a thing. It's already there. It's all exists, and then every passing day, there are new laws coming, or some bills being drafted or proposed in the parliament, which is using technology at scale. And not just India, it's everywhere, right? So the future is going to use technology, and we have seen, I'm going to cover a story about AI camera. So technology is being used already for our day-to-day life. So it's as a developer, it's critical for us to participate in discussions where we use software in our day-to-day life for our jobs. So tomorrow there could be a law which says we can't use certain algorithm because it's patented by somebody else. So we as a developer should be also have to participate if we really care about our job, as well as the freedom of our right to freedom, right to information, or right to privacy. So we have to. It makes sense us to participate in it. So if you want to learn more about it, like we have a forum. I'll share the QR code in the future slides. So again, this is an email which I have been writing to a few people. We all use Digiyatra, or few of us have used Digiyatra. So what happens once you log into the system, and when you submit information, let's say your boarding pass or your check-in time is being recorded once you show the QR code to the system there at the airport gate. Do we know the architecture? Anybody knows the architecture, how it has been designed? No, right? But it should have been. Why not? Why it has to be open architecture? Anybody have any answer? How it will help?
We will understand how the data is being processed.
Yeah, data has been processed. Where are what algorithms are being used? Who is basically, if there are any modifications, if there are any dark patterns being used in the algorithm to save our data in some other stories or private stories. So it has to be open because we have the right to privacy, right? There is a law, right? There is an act which is called right to privacy, which means nobody should looking into my chats or should be recording me, right? So or seeing what I'm doing at the moment, or being watched. So who take care of the such data? Do you know? When you sign up, how many of you use FASTag? So who has the access to the FASTag data? Somebody could track you, right? That where are you today? At which place? Because let's say if you are crossing 3 tolls on a long ride, somebody could track you down and probably catch you in between, right? If the wrong people have the access to that information, and that is only possible if. Sorry, can you be a bit loud? Yeah.
I was a DevOps on the FastTag platform, and the FastTag platform doesn't work like that. It's actually secured in the NIC center in Delhi. And
who has the access to NIC?
NIC has, nobody has access to NIC.
Nobody. Okay.
It's a data center only. Yes, if somebody inside NIC.
Yeah, but who?
Track you, then they can.
Yeah, exactly.
But the system is so secure that we cannot know inside and do anything.
No, but the people who have the access, how can you trust them?
It's a very small group. And if that small group decides, okay, so I have a devil mindset,
Yeah.
then only then they can.
Yeah, but that's what my question is. Who are the small groups? How can you trust them? Are there any laws which protect you if they actually cross their line?
Yes.
Are there any laws?
Yes. So NIC has their rules and regulations, and it's within that we cannot.
Sorry?
NIC has their own National Informatics Center.
Yeah.
Please read about that. It's there, so you can. So nobody can access the data. Similar.
But why should I trust you? Why should I trust them?
You cannot trust anything. It's the government. You can't trust.
So you're saying we should not trust government?
No, I'm saying we can because they have their laws.
Yes.
I think, I agree with your point that an open architecture is necessary because then we know if it's actually going to an NIC or if it's going somewhere else as a backdoor or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think your point was.
Yeah. So my point is, yes, I might trust NIC, but then are they secured enough? I'll give you another example. So there is, everybody know Narega scheme, right? The act. So it guarantees 100 days jobs to every family, under BPL. So there is a system under a particular district, and which stores the Manrega workers' name, and their picture profile, their picture file has been saved by their Aadhaar number. Let's say my Aadhaar is XXX up to 12, and then .jpg, and that has the access, that is accessible by anybody on the internet through inspect. So do you think there is any law which protect the people who have architected it? Can the people who lost their Aadhaar information to the public, can they go and sue somebody? Are there any laws? Because unless there are open architecture, nobody can go and comment on it, right, or help anybody. For example, open source software, right? You use open source, you use Grafana. So if there is any bug, major bug, anybody can go and inspect and raise an PR, right, to fix it. But it's not possible with the government's system, like you talked about toll, FASTag, toll systems. So that's a flaw I'm talking about. Since you don't know what is architecture, if there is a major bug, nobody can go and fix it. It remains with the people who have built it. And how do you know they are the best people to deliver it? There is another story in the future slides, which is about AI cameras. Okay, again, so this is the list of questions that I want all of you to ask yourself or your friends. Who all can see our private data? Let's say, like I said, I have 20 IDs on my Digilocker. Is it just me who is watching, or the third-party company who built it is also watching it? Can they sell it to somebody else? If they can, is there law protecting us? That's my question is. Everybody is getting the point, right? Yeah. I'm just asking very simple questions, but since we all, this is not tech, or technical heavy, but something which all of us uses software in daily life, and a lot of being are enforced by the government because we live in a democratic country and something has to be forced, like traffic rules, right? So this is similar. We have been forced to use certain tools, or otherwise we have to wait for long queue in the toll, right? Because there are just 1 lane or 2 lane out of 10 these days, which is without FASTag. So it's important to ask this question because tomorrow everybody is now forced to use. Let's say there is a law says we have to install Digiyatra, and since we don't know the architecture of Digiyatra, there is a Twitter thread he shared yesterday, Abhishek, and it talks about the app could read our device, not just the app device, not the particular application's data, but entire phone's data. Unless somebody says, by somebody I mean the developer says, here's the architecture, just go and hack it. And the catch is it's not run by government, it's run by a Digiyatra Foundation, which doesn't come under RTI. So we can't ask Digiyatra Foundation to tell how you process the data, who has the data access. I was talking about the protector, right? Government is supposed to be the data of the data protector that now every other system is being used through the software. Like I said, there was deep tech policy. It's every other month there has been something coming all the time. I think I'll move on to next slide. This is the story I want to talk about. So this is written by Disha Verma, and so the idea is there is a India Safe City program which has thousands of crore budget for the women's safety in public places in India. This program came after the Nirbhaya case, which most of us are aware, and 100 crore is used by just Lucknow out of it to install AI cameras. And actually, let's 100 crore project, and this is live since 2022, if I'm not wrong. this story has this story by Disha has all details, but 100 crore is being used, and guess the result is 2 genuine alerts per day. And the idea of this AI camera was there are multiple cameras being installed all across the Lucknow city, and it is that's what the people at the crime branch says, that safe city, this particular department says that okay, it detects, it has a model trained which detects what is wrong, what is right, what is safe, what is not safe, and then it is supposed to trigger the emergency number 112, and then the nearest crime branch or the police station will get informed, and they'll come to the point of wherever the call has been triggered. From wherever the point, the AI camera has triggered the message. But guess what? Even the auto trigger doesn't happen. So what is the point of this whole 100 crore project if the very simple integration is not being in the place? And it's happening. And since the project is not open, nobody can even go and fix it. And that's what open source is all about, right? Even let's say government is not skilled enough. When I say government, the project which is being built through the government contracts or through the NIC directly, they are not capable enough, competent enough to run this project. Open source architecture would have helped, right? To go and somebody, and the whole entire world works on open source tools. The backbone is open source. It's all and it's running because the people who have interest go and contribute. Nobody is paid to contribute to open source, right? 2 genuine alerts per day out of, I don't know, thousands. 2 alerts, and then guess they are not stopping here. They are like, we are training our models, and it's getting better. Basically, what they're trying to say, we are getting more money to give you the same results, because the fundamental is still not fixed. I mean, we don't know how it is being used, and the people who are working, and the AI cameras company are private companies. So again, their model is private. We can't even go and say, okay, this could be there could be a better model, or I can contribute to this model. So and we are just starting with the AI tools, AI systems. So this is just the beginning. 100 years later, you will get caught because some model says, you have been identified as thief in some other city, and you look like similar person, and then you have to live behind the bar for like days because some AI model says, which is proprietary, that you are a thief. But I want to give you some demonstration. I'll go on just search about AI cameras. I mean, the very fundamental. I mean, I already talked about the models. I mean, what is open? We all use LLM, right, tools these days, and the very fundamental is of any LLM is the data, how they have been trained, right? So, oops, maybe I'll just talk about it, internet issue. But what I'm trying to say here is that the very underlying, the fundamental of AI, any AI model is that the data, how it has been trained, and this private company who has trained this haven't shared what kind of it's proprietary. They're proud that it's a proprietary model, and government doesn't understand what is proprietary, what is open source. They could clearly I mean, there are laws which says government should use open source projects, FOSS especially, but still the projects of this scale and are not using open source models. So this is clearly a problem which all of us should be aware, not just because we are a citizen who can get caught because of these AI cameras, but also somebody who are in the software development community. So there is a room for contribution if such process exists, like open source processes. And it's not just because you care about yourself, that's why you have to do it. It's also because there are opportunities. I'm going to talk about a think tank which we work with. But I mean, I think I have already covered this, how somebody how somebody, as in how the government come up with a solution, right? Some bureaucrats in sitting in a room thinks, okay, there is AI camera being sold by this company, or somebody thought, okay, we can't solve thousands of cases in Lucknow city. Let's buy something which can detect automatically. But they don't understand the nuances of what AI camera is about. So some bureaucrats probably, or some industrialists, just lobbying. All of us understand lobbying. So all of us understand lobbying, right? They talk to the bureaucrats, try to convince them. Okay, for example, Microsoft is being installed at most of the government offices because there is interest for the private companies and for the government as well, that they don't have to train. They don't have to work a lot on the Linux, because Linux requires extra effort. And even before the, even now, I mean, there's a discussion about how Linux would make the life of government employees difficult, because they have to go through a training, installation of, removal of Windows, moving to Linux, and then a lot of things could go on halt for maybe months. A lot of money will pour into it because of trainings. There are a lot of talk, but then even before that, the Microsoft were able to put their OS on the government offices because they have been lobbying for long period, right? So the solutions come because bureaucrats think it's a great idea to use AI, or some industrialist thinks they could make money out of it. Or are there any technology experts, let's say somebody who has built projects or a company at a scale of billion people, are they being consulted? That's my question. Isn't that the best way to build any solutions which is going to used by billions of people? I'm talking about the country like India, where there are billion users of, we have eKYC, right? So every day there are lakhs of eKYC being happening. So the answer, to this question is how they should come up with a solution is not through bureaucrats or industrialists. Of course, they could propose solution, but there should be room or forum for experts, technology experts, to comment and have enough time before they move on and spend hundreds of thousands of crore onto any technology. And that's where we come, right? The software developers community. Again, this is not just because you want a safer, like an efficient system, or because you are a citizen of the country, but also there is an opportunities for you to participate, because there are a lot of think tanks who are looking for people, technical experts who could comment, who could draft their or work on with the public policy. What do you call it? With the people who are who are doing public policy on their day-to-day life. The people who draft the all these policies. You could work, the technology experts could work with them and give a better solution than some industrialists proposing for their personal benefit. I mean, this is the same question I've been talking. There are better ways to implement these IT solutions. Why the developers are not being consulted, or even though there are forums, for so-called forums, where you could go and comment, but then you won't hear back for months. By the time you hear back, the time for consultation is already over. The public consultation is already over. So why there isn't better solution, better approaches to hear from the technology experts? We are a democratic country, right? I mean, the government, we elect the governments, and we should be also consulted if there has been such solutions being proposed. So again, I'm gonna plug the public policy initiative at FOSS and Foundation. So we have partnered with Takshashila Institution, a think tank based out of Bangalore. So we provide, I'll go to the next slide. We provide scholarship to the developers to take their GCPP course, which is 12 weeks program for the developers to learn public policy, tech policy especially. It's a 12 weeks online program. You don't have to be there in Bangalore to learn about this. This is one initiative, one partnership with Takshashila Institution. Another is, we have an initiative called End Software Patents. Patents like, imagine somebody had patent of 2 + 2 = 4, like multiplication patent. that's bullshit, right? Sorry for the word. I mean, nobody should be patenting maths, basically algorithms. It's maths, algebra, right? So we have an initiative where we are reaching out to the companies, tech companies especially, and asking for their support on this, so that they don't patent some very common sense thing. Let's say there was a patent, I don't know if it's still there in US, click to buy, this term by Amazon. So one step, just buying. You don't have to go through the adding address. Of course, you have to go do that manually, default address, default payment method. But then that's a patent by Amazon in US, Amazon shopping in US. So we have an initiative. So end software patent is a global initiative, but we work on the Indian initiatives where we talk to a lot of Indian tech companies. And then of course the discussions on the acts. For example, today we have yesterday we saw the DPDP Act coming in the picture. So we have a forum where people discuss and comments on drafts or acts. Before it actually become law, there's room for consultancy period. So you could scan the QR code if you are interested in learning. So we have or if you just go to our website /public-policy. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, what should we do now? Very, very simple question, right? Except learning more about it, or through the participation in on discussions happening. We have like I said, Telegram Matrix bridge for you to join and discuss. Again, the QR code will help you to reach there. But again, like I'm repeating this fact that it's not just that you care about yourself or others, but also there is an opportunities. Every company, since every laws, most of the acts are somehow plugged with technology. Every think tanks are looking for technology experts to join them. You could join part-time and help them to draft their policies. For example, Takshashila has drafted some policies which has become law. For example, the space tech is open, right? Any startups, public, private companies can start a space tech company, and that's somebody else proposed outside the Niti Aayog, which is government's think tank. So if you want to participate in such companies as side gig or consulting roles, that's a good opportunity for you. Of course, to protect yourself, ourselves, your families, near dear ones. Not trying to being not watched by either private player or government. We never know, right? The architecture is not open. How do we know that if I'm being watched here? Imagine if I had used Digiyatra. There are AI cameras installed, right? I could be tracked starting from Delhi, my place in locality in Delhi, till peer list office. So let's ask this question one more time. Where our data is going? Who has the access? Are there any backdoor? If somebody is actually misusing it, are there laws which is protecting us? Can we sue the private player or even the government to why did they misuse our data? And it's all possible if it is possible if if you really care about us, or even we are looking for job opportunities. I'm open for questions if you have any. Yes.
Thanks for the talk, Kushal. Lovely. Just a couple of questions. For example, Ayushman Bharat,
Yeah.
which is the healthcare sector, they have their architectures open.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Just a repeat it. Am I not loud enough?
No. Recording. We're recording. Yeah.
Acha. So, for example, Ayushman Bharat, they have their architectures open. Any specific reason that they have actually kept, because now we are talking about healthcare data, right, which is still in the process and it will take some time to actually fly. But you see a lot of hospitals have started to accept Aadhaar numbers. They ask you, right?
Yeah.
They have kept it open, but why not, these agencies have not kept it open? What do you think around that?
In my opinion, every department, even let's say under the Ministry of Electronics and IT, they have sub-departments and they work in silos.
Right.
There is no bridge. So let's say So we have a tech advisor of NHAI.
Right.
He used to work for earlier for the Ministry of Rural Development.
Right.
So he personally used most of the tools, open source tools, be it databases or anything. But another department under rural development doesn't use it because they have the whole ownership of what kind of tools they use, what kind of processes they can use. Can they make this project open source? So that's the reason. There is no bridge, or let's say a community of such experts who are taking decision. Okay, should we make it open source?
So it's basically people who are driving it.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Decision maker doesn't have, are not in working together to make architecture open, or even how open the architecture is. That's a question because
Right.
the government blame CoWIN is open source. Some particular project is open source, I guess. Governments blame that, but it's not. Aarogya Setu, sorry. The government blames Aarogya Setu is open source, but it's not open source. It's just the client side, I guess. Yeah, it's not entirely FOSS. You can't install in your system and start using it.
Right.
So how open is this open architecture which they open source?
But then there is always a problem of a custodian.
Yeah.
Right? Who wants to be the custodian of it? Right? At the end of the day. So how do you actually go and solve this? I mean, of course, there are these initiatives, but is it like just continuously you repeat yourself to them? That's one way, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, so custodians are mostly governments who are who proposes a solution, right?
Yeah.
And the way any democratic country works, right? There is a draft which goes to the parliament, and then they review it, and even before that, there is a public consultation, right?
Right.
So there has to be enough brainstorming before somebody reaches out to the pollution. I can't decide who could be the custodian, but it's the government or the people. It could be a private player, but then there has to be enough. All these private companies work in a way that every individual of the company can't just destroy the company, right? There has been. We have seen such cases where Uber lost data because some individual thought, I could just do whatever I want. So there are enough checks and balances which is being. There are enough processes which is being used in private companies. Why can't it is.
Basically, someone who goes rogue, right? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So, the idea is that you won't be able to fix it in a while.
Yeah.
The idea is that you, as a developer, the reason why you saying that people should get into technology, because as a developer, you understand it.
Right.
Now, there should be enough representation when this kind of political system happens. When you go and put a point that this is not option.
Right.
Because we care about your privacy. So, you give your holistic approach of no. Since we are a democratic country, this is how it should be.
Right.
There is no representation at all.
Okay.
Everyone is working as a private company. Everyone has their own opinions on building software. And people do not know about what the FOSS is, all those things, and how it should be approaching a
Right. Right.
So the idea is that you be aware, when there is a point, you be a forefront.
Right.
You go participate, you put your point up front.
Right.
And whenever this kind of policies are published, there is always a timeline where it's given to a public that, hey, what is your People are not aware.
Right.
People who are aware, either they are bureaucrats, either people who are in the, this is
have their own incentives aligned. Yeah.
And it's a class system to it, so it's always the people who are on the top.
Yeah.
They have a say.
Yeah.
The elites have the access.
The public who are going to use.
Right.
So it's not going to get fixed in one go.
Yeah.
It has to be like a growth mindset altogether. It's individual citizens' responsibility that you go and take it forward. People do not care in general.
Right.
It's okay if my private data is
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
If you have that mindset, then there is
Yeah, because you're trading off convenience there,
So,
right? I mean, of course, and less hassle.
So problem is not like you don't have to solve the custodian problem.
Yeah.
That's a later stage. You have to solve the basic problem first. Okay, how I get aware, I get a voice.
Yeah, but any government agency at the end is also any agency, government or not a government, they are a custodian and they are kind of responsible to actually operate within some or certain laws.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, we are like asking them to have some checks and balances so that people who go rogue, what happens to them?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, for example, a bank person who has your access to your data can go rogue as well at one point of time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, sir.
There is another question. Yeah.
I don't have like a question as such. I just wanted to like add to the discussion, and like before I tell that, just let me give a brief of like what we do. So like we work on identity, decentralized identity. So we had a talk about DIDs, right? So we work on identity, and the product that we work on is open source. And we recently had an implementation in Bhutan.
What is the project name?
The project name is Credible.
Credible.
Yeah, and the company name is Ironworks. So we work on identity, and I just wanted to give you this idea because since we had an implementation in Bhutan, and the vision was the king's vision, the royal government, and before having the decentralized identity implemented, so they were amongst the first to experiment with that and to have that implemented on national scale. So even before having that implemented, they had like a very stringent policy about what data the company would store, what the architecture should be like. So so the adding to the discussion, we should have similar well put regulations of what data we take, where the data flows, and so it would be
absolutely. I mean, and
Yeah.
again, like I said, this is the beginning of implementation of tech solutions. So if we lost this battle at this point, then this will go on forever, and then it will be losing battle forever.
Right, and also to add organizations like DPG. So they are promoting they are promoting
DPG.
FOSS. Yeah, right, DPG. So Digital Public Alliance is the DPA, right? So and then they have the recognized product as DPG and DPI, right? So
correct.
So the product that we work on is a DPG. So right.
All the open source are DPG, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, right. So we have seen. So we were recently part of the DPG Alliance meetup. So there lots of bureaucrats were part of that, and they were very open to FOSS, and they were very aware of FOSS and having FOSS implemented into.
Yeah, but that's
organization,
one
right?
part, being aware.
Yes,
but
yes.
then are you actually implementing it? When you actually
Yes,
are you following
right,
the processes? That's another question. That's important, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So
Thank
that
you.
was
Any
one
other
bit,
questions? Yes. Yeah. Mike, you can use the mic.
Yeah, just a very basic question. Since this is a very big issue and a very concerning one, of course, this thought must have come to many other people as well before
Absolutely,
this.
yeah.
So,
Not the
any
first one,
notable things that were done by?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
So the people did think that, okay, why are things not open? Why I don't know? Why there's not a transparency? So, are there any notable actions taken by people, and what were the responses?
Yeah. So, for example, there has been multiple cases, right? Let's say there was a bill says digital broadcasting bill or something. This is not tech, but government just proposed a solution that everybody on internet, YouTube, Instagram are giving any advice are under this bill, under this law, and government could come and shut down their channel or just sue them. And when people oppose that idea, government have to take back that law. Same could happen with the tech policies as well, right? But we haven't been able to give our voice or even a good explanation that why this law should not, why this draft should not exist or this law should not exist. We haven't done much. In fact, I think even with the DP digital personal data protection, when it was a bill, there was a lot of feedback given by the community. But again, like I said, there's a lot of I'll say hacks in the system where people, for example, Ministry of Electronics and IT drafted a guideline, I think, on AI guidelines, and it was nonsense basically. They took it back after a few months, I guess, 2-3 months. But yeah, the point is there are few people who are already putting efforts to give feedback to the government, and so, of course they listen to us sometime, but then the number of acts, drafts or laws which are coming, unless more people come and voice, these people will get tired, right? The few people. So there has to be an ecosystem where more people are participating in it, having their voice say in what should be done.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you. He has a question.
Yeah, I mean, you can suggest Anupam Guha's talk from
Yeah.
India FOSS 2023. He has talked about tech policy, specifically on AI,
Right.
but it also talks about the foundation idea of why you should care. So I think that was a recommendation.
I will share a few more resources apart from this link if you're interested in it. So Anupam Guha, a professor at Public Policy School at IIT Bombay, he has been doing a lot of research in the tech policy. Like I said, there are a lot of opportunities as well because it's just beginning of the tech policy. So I'll share a couple of talks. He talked at IIT Bombay, Mumbai FOSS last year, and as well as the India FOSS last year in Mumbai and Bangalore. So I'll share both of the talks which were recorded.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll share the link with the participants. Post Meetup. Thank you so much.